Thank you so very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, welcome again to our usual press conference at police headquarters. I am Assistant Superintendent of Police, Samuel Sayokon, the Deputy Spokesman. Of course, going to introduce, as usual, those who will be in charge in terms of giving you guys updates. I'll start on my extreme left is Inspector Edward Senesi. He is representing the Regional Commander, Freetown East. And of course, next to him, we have DAS, Detective Assistant Superintendent of Police, Francis Leby. He is the Operations Officer at the Criminal Investigation Department. And of course, on my extreme right there is the local unit commander of Godrich or Adonkia Division, is ADC Vandy. And of course, very close to me is Commissioner Williams Manfred. And of course, our chairperson for today's press conference is the Director of Crime Services, of course, William Fire Sel. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Media 2. By way of opening remarks, I want to say, as usual, everybody's welcome, and we want to continue to register our appreciation of the fact that you are coming to this particular press conference. Each time you are summoned, you are coming. For that, we are very grateful, because you are actually making huge contributions to our efforts as police officers, because if there is nobody to carry the news about what we do and what we don't do, it doesn't get out there to the outside world. So we remain grateful. So for the purpose of the exigency of time, I'm going to merge 5A and 4. So to continue, I'll maybe give an update on general police operations across the country. In the first place, all police divisions or formations across the country, they carry out normal policing activities. Normal policing activities include, of course, discharging our core functions, investigations, apprehension and prosecutions, all of those ones. In addition to those ones, we also do routine activities, raids, patrols, and checkpoints, especially at night, with a view to forestall criminal activity. That is done. And of course, within the city, 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was an operation to restore order, especially along the streets, but somebody from the east or the different regional commanders will throw light on that one. But it has actually become a concern that if you are moving around the streets, you find it difficult to walk on the walkways, because those walkways are occupied predominantly by traders. They are spreading their wares on the walkway, and they are causing a lot of discomfort to people who don't have the freedom to move, or they are placed at risk of being run over by vehicles. So that one is going on. The 2 operations are going on. And then, of course, we have had cause to respond to some public order issues. For example, one at IMAT, where some squatters wanted to resist being evicted from somebody's legally owned property, and we resisted that one. We made a couple of arrests, in total 39. They are charged to court, and they are fined 1 million euros each, or you run a jail term of 6 months. So that one is left with them. And in Kisi also, very recently, between schools, Ahmadiyya Muslim Congress and Methodist West High School, there are also some fracas. We have discovered recently that students, what they are doing is when they want to go and disturb, they put on the uniform of the other schools so that when they are misbehaving, you think it's either Ahmadiyya or Congress. And when you check closely, after a couple of arrests, you realize they don't belong to either of these schools. So we made a couple of arrests on that one, but this time we had to warn Stanley, and they were not charged to court. We did that one. Then of course, there is one activity or one video which has been awash in the social media of a police officer at Zini who was seen insulting and slapping an NRA staff. One thing we can always say for free is that the Sierra Leone police, we remain the only institution in the country which has a disciplinary regulation which was passed in Parliament. So issues of discipline, we don't compromise. So just when the video went viral, that officer has been redeployed or taken out of the posting. He was withdrawn. He has been suspended and is presently being investigated because that one is a very serious offense. Lacking civility is a very serious offense, and I pity him because we have received a report from the ombudsman about that particular conduct. So we are looking also at that one. He is being investigated to save or to improve on the investigation. We've instructed that the matter is investigated in both two-pronged investigation, disciplinary and criminal, because assault is criminal, and then the lack of civility is disciplinary. So we are taking that approach to look at him. And then of course, by the 7th of next month, we have a very contentious by-elections coming up in Kono, Sando Chiefdom, and elections are our responsibility because we guarantee the process itself. We provide the requisite security for the successful conduct of those elections. And towards that end, we have embarked on a couple of activities. As I'm talking to you now, we are doing a comprehensive threat assessment because it is contentious. We have big weights who are going to try to win that particular seat. So it is very, very tough ahead of us. The threat assessment will allow us to map out how we are going to deploy our assets on the ground on that day, and that will be followed by the deployment and the actual conduct of the election. Of course, we have to provide the security before, during, and after the elections. So these and many other activities are going on across the country, but for the purpose of this press conference, I want to restrict myself to these ones. But if questions come up about other activities across the board, I can respond. So at this point, we move the program. We'll now go to updates from we'll get the update from we'll move to item letter F5F. This is a regimental force. We cannot have a junior officer coming to talk in front before the senior officer. So we'll move to F. We'll have the updates from Freetown West.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I will align myself to all the former protocols. We have series of issues that came up. One was on the 27th, a security guard at G's compound, Longley, reported that at 04:48 hours, a thief who ran out of lock was discovered at the top of a roof, a 3-story building. When the alarm was raised, in a bid to escape, he fell down from the roof. He was taken to Connaught Hospital, and the matter is under investigation. We also have the issue of 2 women reported of thieves on board motorbike. on different occasions, they were traveling along Wilkinson Road. And these two people on board the motorbike snatched their handbag from them inside the keke. So, thirdly, on the same date, an hour later, another fellow went to the station to report that his house was broken into and his properties were taken away. While he was reporting, one of the ladies identified him to be one of the thieves on board the motorbike. So the police officers responded and they went to his house, searched his house, they recovered some ID cards and also proceeded to the other people who went to the thief's house. And several items, including plasma and other properties, were discovered at one of the complainant's house, who had gone there with some people in search of the thief. She didn't go to the police. She went with other people to the house of the suspected person. They break into his house and took away all his properties. But those properties were recovered at the police station. So now we have 3 matters under investigation. The 2 for the suspect snatching their bags, and the other matter is wherein the suspect's house was broken into, was burgled. And I know we are all waiting for the celebrated matter. My LUC will dwell on that. But let me also bring to your notice that one Omar Barry reported that he was called on phone because he's a dealer in mobile phones. He was called on phone that somebody wanted mobile phone. He went to the location. While he was negotiating with one of these persons, they snatched his properties from him. They robbed him of his properties. And at another day, he was called again. Little did they know that it was the same person. So on that tip-off, team of police officers went with this Umar Bag again. And somebody came up to him. And the officers arrested the person as the others ran away. And this person who came up to him was one of the people who had earlier robbed him of his phones and properties. And this person was searched and 800 fake dollars were found in his possession. That matter is also under investigation. Let me just give you a preamble of 2 alleged kidnapping stories we have at Godwich. The LUC will dilate more. I'll start with the latest one. Husband and wife were quarreling over domestic issues. They were in a traffic along Mechkem area, Godwich. This was overheard by some bike riders and passers-by. They started hitting the car that the driver wanted to kidnap the lady who get out of the vehicle while they were quarreling. And they chased this car. Because of the way they were hitting the car, the driver rushed to the Adonkia police station. While he was there, they gave chase and started throwing stones at the police station. They even smashed the windscreen of the vehicle, only for police to discover that it was a matrimonial dispute. I just want to caution the public and for the press to send this message out. For this false alarm, it's becoming rampant. Also, there was another matter wherein somebody was seen with tie around the person's waist. He was also accused of kidnapping a boy. For that one, I will leave it with the LUC Godrich to delve into it. I think we also are on the Operation Restore Order. I think those of us at the far west, we realize now the traffic at the far west is much more better than it used to be a month ago, because we've taken the traders off the footpath and off the street. I think that's all from my side. I will hand over to the chairman to allow the LUC Godrich to say his own. Thank you.
Thank you. You wait for the questions. I'm sure all of these fourth estate people are fully loaded with questions today for us. But all of us are partners in this business. The last time somebody was saying we should have to organize a training or a workshop for our brothers and sisters to be reporting on security issues. I'm going to take that one up with the Inspector General. I expected Director of Operations to take it up with the IG, but having not done so, I will make a strong commitment, and we're surely going to deliver that one pretty soon, like the late Ahmad Jakaba pretty soon. So thank you very much. Now we move on to the next update. It has to come from LEC Godrich.
Permission, sir. Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen of the Fourth Estate. Okay.
Just talk.
I am Superintendent Edison Bandi, the local unit commander for Gorich Police Division. My task here is to talk about the allegations of an alleged kidnappings that is going on that we have in our divisions. We have two in a row. I'll start with the first one, which occurred on the 23rd of October 2021. On that fateful day, at 1100 hours, the crime officer for Gorich Police Division, ASP Moses Kelly, received a phone call from a concerned citizen living within Laka and reported that there is an angry mob at Laka Beach who are trying to lynch somebody, a male, an adult male, for an alleged offense of kidnapping. So we had to set up a team to move there quickly on board SLP 140, which is a divisional patrol vehicle. On reaching the scene, those who were around, the crowd, I mean the angry mob, they had to run away, and police officers observed that there was an adult male by the name of Fode Kuruma, who had a vehicle tie around his waist, and there was blood all over his body, his head, and just like the people wanted to lynch him or to burn him alive or to set the tire ablaze because they suspected him to have committed an offense of kidnappings. He was taken from there and taken to the emergency surgical center for first aid treatment, and after that the administration at emergency hospital handed over the suspect back to the police, and we took him on board SLP 140 to the police hospital at Kintom for treatment. The following day, when his condition was a bit stable, we sent an investigator from the Criminal Investigations Department to obtain a caution statement from him. And in his statement, he stated that he was Fode Kuruma, 40 years old, and he was from Laka. He is a fisherman from Toke. So after doing some fishing activities at sea, because of the storm was a bit heavy, so he had to come down to Laka Beach, and he actually had some catch of fish, which he brought to Laka Beach, and he met two other guys who actually helped him to sell these fishes to a member of the Laka community, a female. According to him, whilst he has sold this fish, he got some food from one of the vendors. After eating, he started to mend his net. Whilst he was mending his net, after finishing, he took the net and placed it back into the boat. And then there came two other guys who came in as if they were there to help him to push the boat ashore so that he can go back to Laka. And whilst they were there, he said one of them took his bag, which contained about 700,000 leons. He said he had at first 2,600,000 leons in the bag, but after selling the fish for 100,000, the total amount went up to 2,700,000. So one of these guys picked up the bag and started to run away, and he took a knife. Whilst he wanted to advance to catch up with this guy who has picked up his bag, the other fellow blocked him. So he was furious, and he started running after this guy. According to him, whilst the guy who picked up his bag reached where the children were swimming in the water, he sent the bag to this other fellow, to his accomplice, and the accomplice got hold of the bag and he dashed into the water where the children were playing. So the boatman, Fode Koroma, the suspect, now dashed into the same water. But this guy had to dive underneath the children, and when he raised the knife, he thought he was going to stab the right person, but it was the wrong person he stabbed. So he had to stab the young boy, age 10, by the name of Mohamed Hakim Conte. He had to stab him twice. According to him, it was not deliberate. So this guy now came out of the water and started shouting, "Kecha, kecha, kecha, kecha." So that, we have been hearing things of kidnappings around town. So people had to rush to the scene and started beating him, and they thought he was a kidnapper. After getting this statement from the suspect at the Kinton Police Hospital, our investigator had to go to the community to confirm these allegations or this story made by the suspect. So the suspect had to tell the investigator that he had a boat by the name of Toke Bese, which he said was named after his daughter, his first daughter, and the color of the boat was blue, white, and black. And actually, when the investigator went there, he actually saw the boats and the nets inside there, and he had to ask some neighbors around the beach area. One of such neighbor was one Henry Kamara, who was a tiler. He was doing some tile job very close to the beach, and he also had to explain that, yes, I actually remember that particular day there was a guy who came ashore to sell some fishes, and two boys had to help him to sell the fish. And after that, the tiler said that this guy, whilst he was mending his net, some other two guys came in. I think he said, according to what he saw, he thought they were actually there to help him to push the boat ashore. But what actually happened, he said he saw the suspect running after one of them with a knife. And he saw this guy who was run after dashed into the ocean where the children were swimming, and then the guy also had to dash in there. According to him, this the guy who snatched the bag had to hit this suspect with a stick, and then that actually aggravated him to have stabbed that little boy. Then he said that crowd actually came and gathered around the area, and then they started beating him. But by the time our guys went there, they had already gone. And we also had another statement from one Ebenezer Johnson, who is the harbor master. But his story was actually a hearsay, because he was directly reporting what he was told by one Dura. And we have tried to get onto this Dura to confirm what the harbor master said, but we have not got him. He is nowhere to be found. And then there was another lady by the name of Felicia Dennis Williams, who also lives in Laka village. She is actually the friend of the victim, the friend of the victim's mother. So she came at the same when the deed has already been done, and then he had to take the boy together with the mom and took the victim to an emergency surgical center for treatment. So far so good. I think that's all we have for that particular case. And another, which was actually highlighted by my regional commander, happened on the 26th of October 2021, around 1928 hours. And 1928 hours, there was an Okada rider by the name of Michael Kamara Elias Apache. He came to the police station and reported that there is a case of kidnapping at Metcam area, and that an angry mob is now at the suspected kidnapper and trying to beat him up. So we had to send the ops team there, and when they went, the crowd had to run away, and then we saw this guy who was in a red Jeep with registration number AND 878. His name is Augustine Sasheku, and he lives at number 19D Abraham Answer Drive, Spur Road. According to him, when they brought him, he actually went upstairs to my office, and we had to detain him for protective custody, because the guys were actually out there. They were very angry, and they wanted to lynch him up, thinking that he was a kidnapper. But from the story that we got after taking statement from the wife, who was a pregnant lady by the name of Frances Kadisise, she also lives at the same address at number 19D Abraham Answer Drive. She is also a third-year student of Rube College, and she was pregnant. According to Kadi's statement, she stated that there had been a problem, there had been a conflict between her husband and herself, and that had actually taken about 3 days without settling it. So she had to ask the husband to take her back to her parents. So the husband had to load her into the car and started going round and round. So whilst they were in the car, there was some bits of exchange of words between herself and her husband, and she started to cry. When they reached around Metcam area, she wind down the glass, the driving mirror down where she was seated, and then she started to cry and calling for help, hitting the door of the vehicle. I think that actually attracted the people around, especially the Okada riders around that particular end. And then they came here. She had to ask for help. She said she wanted somebody to take her to her mom. So when she alighted the vehicle, looking at her posture, being a pregnant woman, I think that attracted a lot of sympathy from members of the crowd who were there, and they had to come in and started beating this guy. So when our guys went there, they actually met this guy. The windscreen, both the front and the back, were smashed, and then they had to drive the car and the guy to our police station, where we actually kept him under protective custody. And they started pelting stones, they wanted to burn down the vehicle, but we have to use few tear gas canisters to ward them off. So that was how we also had to call on the regional ops team from Lumley, and they had to come and back us up, and we were able to put the situation under control. So in essence, from the statements made from Frances Kadisise, we are actually investigating domestic violence rather than kidnapping. So that is all I have for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, LEC Godrich, for such detailed narrative. Okay, we move on. Now let us hear the OC1, Ops Officer CID, update.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Regional Commander of Freetown West, Major 2, LEC Godrich, and other officers, Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I'm just going to mention a few cases over the weekend, the most important one among the others. I start from the rear. A case of larceny in a vehicle involving a Nakova vehicle from Gambia. On Tuesday, the 19th October 2021, the CID department received a transfer case and inquiry file from Gambia involving number SLCOVID 037V. Okay? So the report stated that on Wednesday, 13 October 2021, at about 25 hours, the resident minister, Northwest Region, Madam Aissata Abdullahi Kamara, and a team of police officers attacked Gambia Division, arrested and brought in suspect Henry Koka, Suleiman Kanu, Thomas Imasin Conte, and Abdullahi Kamara, all of Freetown, with one white Toyota Land Cruiser vehicle as an exhibit which was stolen by the above-mentioned suspects. This matter has been charged to court. A case of conspiracy to defraud. On Thursday, 21st October 2021, the Anti-Fraud Unit of the Criminal Investigation Department received a transfer case and inquiry file from Aberdeen Police Station. The report stated that on Tuesday, 20th October 2021, Gulam Rosuli, an Afghanistan national presently residing at number 23 Montreux Road, Wilberforce, Freetown, reported that on diverse dates between the 1st June 2021 and the 21st June 2021 in Freetown, through MoneyGram transfer, obtained the total sum of 43,000 United States dollars by falsely pretending that C had 1 kilogram of gold for sale and to export same to him in Afghanistan, knowing him to be false. This matter is under investigation. Come to the other matter, a case of murder. On Thursday, 21st October 2021 at 09:15 hours, the Homicide Syndicate of the Criminal Investigation Department received a case and inquiry file from the FSU CID headquarters for further investigation in respect of murder. In this case, an inquiry file it was stated that on the 22nd of August 2021 at 19:19 hours, sent to Bangura of Friend Street, Bulima, Waterloo, brought to the station her granddaughter, Aminata Toure, age 5, old formerly of Upper Gassama Street, Freetown, and reported on her behalf that on Friday, the 20th of August 2021, at about 2000 hours, at the above mentioned address, see later, the latter now deceased, fell in a hot boiling water, and as a result sustained injury all over her body, and subsequently died at Connaught Hospital, Freetown, and thereby suspected one Admire Bangura of the same address to have negligently left the coal pot with hot water unattended. The matter is under investigation. The last, a case of conspiracy. On Tuesday, the 26th of October 2021, the Criminal Investigation Department received a case and inquiry file in respect of conspiracy to defraud from Bo Police Station. That on the 18th October 2021 at 1000 hours, Mohammed Bailo Sila of Bandaguma Layout, accompanied by one Sunga of National Media Agency and Chief Abdullah Conte, reported that Musa Tula, Sekou Conte, and Alhaji Ibrahim Jallo, all of Bo number 2 extension, stole one big piece of stone suspected to be diamond found by Samuel Tula. This matter is also under investigation. These are the few cases I would like to mention for now.
Thank you very much. We'll move from there. We'll now come to the representative of the Regional Commander of Freetown East.
Mr. Chairman, Regional Commander of Freetown West, ABC, OCs, CID, Media One. Good afternoon. The region remains to be calm and quiet, and we continue to do our normal day and night patrols. With regards to major incidences, we do not have much to report on. Only thing I want to report on is that the operations restore order is fully being implemented. Areas like strategic areas like Shell, Wellington, that is PMB, Joy, and also 55 Waterloo have been cleared of traders. We have also concentrated on the region's Joy Highway, and definitely we will continue to ensure that those places are monitored to ensure that the operation is sustained. Otherwise, I think the AIG has already commented on the aspect of elections. Last Saturday, the region provided a robust security for the conduct of the regional Western Area region executive election for the Sierra Leone People's Party in the midst of several confusions that was perpetrated, yet we are able to complete that election, and the outcome was peaceful and credible. Apart from that, we do not have much to report on. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think this brings us to the end of the first session of this press conference. Before we move to the second session, I want to share some information with you. Over the most recent 3 or 4 months, Sierra Leone has made tremendous gains in terms of seizure of drugs at the key, particularly, and at the airport. We have made seizures of large quantities of marshmallow, the material they use to make kush, together with its precursor, acetone. And because of those gains we've made over the past couple of months, and that we gave it publicity through your support, it has attracted a project. There's a project which was initially signed between the Sierra Leone government and an agency in Spain they call CCOP. CCOP is an acronym for Seaport Cooperation Program. It's a program which has as its sole objective fighting illicit maritime organized crime with special focus on narcotics, arms and ammunition, and contraband goods. It's an EU-funded project, and there's a budget of 5 million euros standing aside for those countries which are making significant contribution to the global fight against drug trafficking by illicit criminal gangs. Just on Tuesday, a regional coordinator for the West African sub-region, Eric Watt, and his deputy, Thierry Thiam, were here for the implementation of the CCOP 5 project. For now, we have an office space at the quay. Before this time, we never had that one. We have an office space at the quay. We actually used 2 40-feet containers to set up the office space. And the UK government, UNODC, Drug Control Agency of the UN, ONS, of course, being the implementing partner in Sierra Leone, we have set up that office, and very soon it is going to be officially commissioned by His Excellency the President so that we can actually start our operations. In that office, we have been provided with search tools to search ships. The target for CCOP is about what happens on the high seas. We are provided with search tools to search ships, office equipment, and primary protective equipment. We are looking forward to the delivery of a training package wherein those officers drawn from 5 agencies in Sierra Leone, the Sierra Leone Police, RSLAF, ONS, SISU, Maritime Association, NGLEA, coming together will constitute the Sierra Leone CCOP team, and they will be based at the quay. From there, they will work with other CCOP teams across the globe to target specific ships which are suspected to carry drugs. Just Monday, last week, about 2 tons of cocaine was seized at Dakar Wharf, the operations of CCOP 5 at Dakar. So I think we are trying. Though the circumstances are difficult under which these our agencies are operating, but we are making some gains. So very soon, when they are officially going to launch the CCOP office at the quay, we will invite our people. The issue about social media is, or the abuse of social media in this country is very bad. Social media has now become investigators, prosecutors, and even magistrates. It is on social media that they will decide the case. They will tell you who is wrong and who is right, and they will present the evidence. So maybe as members of the Fourth Estate, let us try to be objective in our reportings. Those who spread the bad news, there are many, and for them all is about trying to paint Sierra Leone as a bad country. For example, I listened to the alleged kidnapping at Adonkia on that very night. I felt so bad. It was only when I called that I learned it was not real. It was a fake news being put out. So we continue to work together, all of us, so that we can present Sierra Leone as a decent country. You know, we are imagining from a situation we are in. We need to build this country. Nobody can build it for us. So if you have, sometimes we have to report what is good, and we should not be seen to be paid. Some people are paid to write on the social media. So for those of us who are coming here to listen, We appreciate that. I've just discussed with Conte for him to fast track this reporting on security about for the fourth estate. That's what I've told him. Let him come up with a budget, and we want to drop that content in the next 2 weeks. So if you don't drop it in the next 2 weeks, it is your responsibility. And if the budget is not big, I'll take it. So we'll come to the second session. No, for me, it's all about giving back to the SLP. Yes, I've without hesitation, I would say I've enjoyed the flora and fauna of life in the Sierra Leone Police. I was a teacher before. I was a teacher at FSSG, but I've had my day in the SLP for all these 28 years. I'm 28 years now in service. So we'll come to the second session, questions and answers. So take 5 questions at a time. Then we'll do maybe 2 rounds.